And here, right on cue, is Sally B, flown as always by Captain Keith Sissons. This B-17 is kept in the air as a mark of respect to the 79,000 American airmen who never came back from their daylight raids over Germany in the Second World War. The de Havilland Mosquito, well, it's affectionately known as the Wooden Wonder. It became one of the most popular aircraft with its pilots ever built. In the late 30s, the Air Ministry dismissed the design, partly because a lot of it was made of plywood. But as the war progressed and metals became more scarce, the design was dusted off and de Havilland found themselves with a winner. The B-17, on the other hand, was a bit of a plodder, really. It was eventually quite well armed with its guns covering most angles of attack, but the most uncomfortable position must have been in the ball turret under the aircraft. Just imagine sitting cooped up in that tiny space for hours on end and being shot at from the fighters in the air and the flak from the ground. Rather you than me. Powered by two Merlin engines and being comparatively light, the Mosquito was very fast. In fact, it was as fast, if not faster, than the German frontline fighters of the time. Oh, that sound of Merlin engines. The B-17's strength was that it flew to Germany in huge box formations, which managed to protect them to a certain extent. Its weakness was its relatively small bomb bay, as you can see here. This meant that, generally speaking, B-17s carried 500-pound bombs, unlike the British Lancaster, which could carry Barnes-Wallis Tallboy and Grand Slam bombs. Sally B. Well, now, no Biggin air show is complete without the Navy. The ferry's Swordfish was obsolete by the beginning of the Second World War, but it did manage some heroic escapades. The sinking of the German battleship Bismarck and the daring raid on the Italian fleet at Taranto Harbour, for example. Now, the Swordfish torpedo bomber was in fact responsible for sinking a greater tonnage of enemy shipping than any other Allied aircraft, and with a top speed of a staggering 139 miles an hour, the String Bag must be one of the most successful military aircraft of all time. In the early 90s, the Royal Navy managed to acquire its second ferry Swordfish, which should thrill the crowds for many years to come. Now, what we see is a polished air display, but before every show, each team has to